Cafe Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Rioch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Denver, Colorado is Andrea Nicholson, functional health practitioner, holistic nutrition and lifestyle coach for digestive wellness. So Andrea, what can you share one message that you want everyone to know?
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me today. I would love to just let everyone know that regardless of what health condition you're dealing with, first of all, there are answers. You can figure out what's going on. So if you so far have not been able to figure out what's actually going on with your body, keep fighting, keep asking, keep finding answers. There are answers out there. And then once you have those answers, just know that every condition can at least be improved upon, if not fully reversed. So definitely keep fighting for yourself. Keep looking for answers. Keep looking for solutions, because there are solutions out there.
And I see on your LinkedIn profile, you say, master your metabolism. So it's really something that we have to take charge of. Or
it really
should
is.
take charge of.
Yes. We have so much control over the direction of our health purely by really cleaning up our diet. That is the biggest driver of pretty much every chronic disease out there. And then, of course, lifestyle as well. So sleep, stress management, exercise, all of these other things, of course, also play in. And we have control over those things for the most part. This isn't just like your lot in life or your fate to, live with in your future. We have so much control if we just do the right things for our bodies.
And it's really to be more careful and ask the right questions about what we're eating.
Yes. Food is by far the biggest factor that plays into the direction of your health.
Now, what you do, your clients, the people who come to you, have they already discovered they have something, or are you more in the preventative portion of life?
I'm a little bit in both. I have a lot of people who know they have a diagnosis. They know they have a digestive condition, or they know they have pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes. Or I get the other end of that spectrum where they're like, I just know I feel terrible and nothing I'm doing is working and I can't get any answers and I don't know what I'm doing. And so in those roles, then I become more of like an investigator to try to figure out what's going on. And once we know what's going on, or if you come in knowing what's going on, then we can be very strategic and targeted in figuring out a remedy.
And with the investigative part, it's asking the right questions.
Absolutely.
Or asking those questions that we don't even know where those questions could come from.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it's a subjective question, like, how do you feel? How did that go for you? Sometimes it's really about how you feel, because ultimately that's the goal, to get you feeling the best and living your best life. But sometimes it's also objective data. So lab testing or physical measurements or health technologies. A lot of these different tools can give us really specific information that doesn't always point to something that you might feel. Like type 2 diabetes, you can have really high blood sugars and you might not know that unless you were testing. But someone with like chronic diarrhea is of course going to know that. They're going to feel that. And so sometimes you can feel it, sometimes you can't. And so we really do want to take all of these things into account to figure out exactly what the best plan is for you.
Well, you mentioned health technology, and in today's world, 2024, everything's come with, wearables.
Yeah.
All right. So really we can plug ourselves into something or be plugged into something and be able to track the number of different functions that previously we never thought possible.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many amazing technologies now. There's a range of price ranges. There's a range of purposes. There's a range of quality, but there's a tool out there for just about everything you could ever want to track to know more about what's going on with your body.
Well, is that one of your suggestions? Start measuring in any way, shape, or form to start getting information?
Yeah, I do think that's a big part of this. There's a saying that says you can't manage what you don't measure. Right. And so if you don't even know where you are, how do you know where you're going? And so I do think there's a big benefit to doing that. Plus you can keep tracking as you're improving, and that can help you show that you're getting improvement, because you might not go from feeling terrible to feeling amazing in a couple days.
Right. Normally that's not the case.
Right. But incrementally, if you're following any kind of metric, you can see that it is getting better. And so that can be motivating and exciting and show progress as well. And if you can also see, hey, this isn't working. So maybe I need to try something different. Instead of wasting 6 months to go, yeah, I just wasted 6 months. It didn't work. You've got some metrics to track along the way.
I'm looking at your site, which is Healthy Life with Andrea. And I see there you offer a diabetes cheat sheet, right, for insulin resistance. So is that really just check and fill in the blanks?
It's kind of a running list of things that you might want to pay attention to. So different tools that can be helpful. It's nutrition recommendations, lifestyle recommendations, kind of a little bit about the condition, and then just sort of, what do you need to know if you have prediabetes or if you suspect you have prediabetes to understand it, to identify where you're at on that whole spectrum. And then also, what do you do about it if you do have it?
And prediabetes, it's not an old people type thing. It's happening across all age groups, right?
It really is. Yeah. It used to be considered, type 2 diabetes used to be considered diabetes of adults because it was very different than type 1, which is traditionally more in younger people and even children. But nowadays, because the diet has gotten so terrible, our lifestyles have gotten more and more sedentary. We're surrounded by more toxins and terrible junk foods and all these things. Now we're seeing full type 2 diabetes in very young children. And so, pre-diabetes, which is the precursor to
young
that.
Children, you're not saying teenagers, you're saying young.
Even children, little kids are even getting this. And you can see it when you look around the populations. Type 2 diabetes doesn't always come with obesity, but it often does. And you can see there's a lot more obese and very overweight children today who are sedentary, who are in their house playing their video games or playing on their tablets, and who aren't getting exercise. They're eating, food out of boxes and packages mostly instead of fresh, real food. And the lifestyle is just very different. And you can see that just looking at the population that we're clearly getting sicker by the day.
So how can our listeners find you?
Yeah, so the best way is the website you mentioned, healthylifewithandrea.com. And from there, you can link to my email list, which provides tons of value. There's also my podcast, which is the Holistic Health Bites podcast. And then the prediabetes cheat sheet and some other resources are on that website as well.
Very good. Well, thanks for sharing your time and expertise, Andrea.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And again, for our listeners, is Andrea Nicholson. First name is Andrea, the last name Nichoolson. Find her on LinkedIn and her site, which is healthylifewithandrea.com. healthylifewithandrea.com. Cafe Networking is brought